We now move into measures of center in Chapter 3 or Module 3. We start off with this idea of how could we use the data to tell a story. And so one way we do that is to convert the data into numbers, into, in this case, a single value, right? So when we're describing data, right, with the distribution, one of the key aspects that we look at is where is the data centered? Where is the middle? Where's the average is kind of the basic idea that we've talked about in the past, starting from elementary school, middle school, high school, and that's called a measure of center. Further, we have other measures of center called median and mode that we use to describe data. Again, we have data, we use it to learn about us or learn about things or people or things, right? And then we analyze this distribution. What are the values? How often do they come up? And then within that distribution, what we care about is kind of where is the center, right? What's the mean, the median, and mode? Because that tells a story for us. We'll learn what that story is. These are the formulas we use. We're going to strictly use technology to calculate these values. And so when we talk about the average, we talk about the mean. Okay, that's the average for a data set. Notice you can see we add up all the numbers and divide by how many numbers we added. Now, in statistics, remember, we do statistics on samples, right? The information we get from a sample of people or things is a statistic. And then we use that statistic to estimate a parameter or values from the population. That's why we have two different means, the population mean and the sample mean. But keep in mind, most of the time we're just going to take a sample mean and then hope that estimates the population mean. But that's why we have two. So sometimes we refer to the sample mean as X bar, and then if we're saying the X bar is a representation of the mu, this symbol here, this is the Greek letter M, the mu. And so some things that we're going to learn as we move forward is that the mean, right, is sensitive to extreme values. So when you have values, sometimes the mean is not the best representation for the middle. It's easily influenced by skewed data, which we'll talk about when you have these numbers that are far away from the middle. It somehow disrupts our analysis in some way. So we have to then look at what we call the median, which we've learned in the past is the 50th percentile. That measures the exact middle, and sometimes that value, right, is the one we want to calculate instead of the mean, right? And we'll learn more as we get to like how to decide which one is which. We do know the median is what we call resistant. It's a resistant measure. It doesn't change much. Even if you add an outlier, it doesn't change its value as much or even at all. We say that's robust, okay, because we can use it in different situations, not just in normal situations. The mode is a measure of the most. We could think of, again, when we have data, which one comes up the most? That would be what we call the mode. And sometimes more values than one come up the most, and that would be what we say bimodal, multimodal. Important to know we can use the mode with categorical data. We cannot do that with the median and mean. But modes you can use for quantitative data or for categorical data. Which number comes up the most? Sometimes that's the story we want to tell.